Yo, what's up YouTube? It's your boy Legend and I'm back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. Now I'm sorry I haven't uploaded for a couple of days. My power ended up going out because somebody hit a transformer where I live and I had to stay in a hotel for a couple of days. So I didn't have no fucking Wi-Fi. So I'm back with the content. So let's get into this. Start my intro. Alright fam, we start this episode off with Sasuke. Sasuke landed and made a crater in front of Danzo, who was now in the Uchiha compound. Sasuke glared at Danzo before his eyes widened as the gauntlet on his arm dropped to the ground with a metallic clang. 4 root agents then landed next to Danzo. "You're not needed here. Just set up a barrier around the compound. We will keep the damage confined." The root agents flashed away as a blue barrier surrounded the compound. How sick. You had my entire clan killed, and you desecrate their bodies by stealing their eyes. I know everything. You won't manipulate anyone else the way you did me in Naruto. Sasuke's sword lit up with lightning that soon turned gray. He vanished and so did Danzo as they met, Sasuke in the middle with a wind-enhanced kunai. Danzo was surprised, but he didn't let it show. He was expecting his kunai to nullify the lightning and cut clean through his sword, but he thought wrong of it as he shot his unnatural hand forward and grabbed Sasuke by the throat. Sasuke arched his back and planted his foot into Danzo's face and brung his other down onto his collarbone, causing Danzo to release a grip. Sasuke jumped back with his left eye closed as he snapped it open. Amaterasu. Danzo was consumed by the black fire before he went up in smoke. "When did you make a clone?" Sasuke looked around, but saw only the buildings of the compound. He then heard rapid footfalls from behind, and they were close. He spun around, but he couldn't block, so he summoned the ribcage of his Susanoo as Danzo slammed the wind-enhanced kunai into it, and it created a small crack. Danzo jumped back to avoid the purple fist. He focused all of his elemental chakra at the tip of the kunai for the max amount of penetrating power, Sasuke thought. He had a home field advantage, but Danzo knew the Uchiha compound as much as he did. Sasuke then looked at Danzo before Sasuke started to fade from existence. "How naive of you, boy. But this genjutsu was far too obvious." Danzo shattered the genjutsu before he lashed out at Sasuke, who was coming down at him with his sword as he plunged the kunai straight through Sasuke, causing him to gasp. "You had a lot of potential, Sasuke, just like Itachi. But now all of that potential is just a waste." Sasuke slowly grabbed onto Danzo's wrist, a grip that lacked strength. "You know nothing of the extent of my ability, you thief." Sasuke then exploded into lightning as it shocked Danzo's body. Sasuke broke from the ground behind Danzo as he shot forward. "Chidori!" Sasuke plunged his hand through Danzo's heart, but he was far from done. "Chidori beacon!" Sasuke then removed his hand as Danzo fell to the floor. Sasuke looked up to the sky. It was cloudy enough for his fastest lightning attack. Sasuke quickly moved as a decent-sized wind blade passed him. "I knew it. The use of Izanagi. You're no better than Orochimaru, an old bastard afraid of death." Danzo pulled another kunai as he spun it and blew wind onto it. "You know nothing of me. All I wish is to prolong my lifespan for the sake of the village. Everything I do is for the protection of Konoha." Danzo tossed the wind-sharpened projectile that made little to no noise. Sasuke rushed through hand signs. "Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu." Sasuke spat out multiple fireballs as he flung shuriken into them. He then broke his stiffness with the Shunshin. Now behind Danzo, but Sasuke was quickly kicked away. Danzo quickly moved, avoiding the flaming projectiles as he was now in midair. Sasuke's hand crackled with lightning as it turned gray. Chidori Senbon! Sasuke waved his hand as all of the needles struck Danzo. The needles were almost into Danzo's flesh. Sasuke then made a single hand sign as Danzo let out a pained scream before he exploded in lightning. Sasuke felt a small buildup of chakra as he turned and ran. He's gonna appear right here. Danzo then appeared and quickly grabbed onto Sasuke by the wrist as he slammed a palm into his chin as his head snapped back. He then shoved his hand through his chest, but Sasuke burst into crows and dispersed. Sasuke then appeared a distance away, just as the rain started to pour down and the lightning came to life. Sasuke smirked as he said two words, "Kirin, come." A blue dragon of lightning manifested from the clouds with a roar. Outside of the barrier, the shinobi and civilians saw the majestic beast in the sky as it roared. "What the hell is that?" said Guy. Everyone blinked. Guy used a sentence without using the word youth. There was then a massive boom. Back with Sasuke, Kirin came down faster than a blink of an eye as it ripped straight through the barrier overhead. Danzo was already marked, so Kirin already knew where to strike. Danzo had no time to move. The jutsu came down too fast. The barrier above did nothing to even slow it down. The jutsu completely cooked Danzo. Now the Leaf Shinobi were getting curious and going to investigate. Why were there explosions going off in the Leaf Village? Why was a barrier put up? Danzo looked down at his arm. He had 5 eyes left. It was time for him to get serious. He sped through hand signs and slammed his hand down onto the ground. Summoning Jutsu! A giant mammoth-looking creature poofed in, crushing a few buildings due to its size. Sasuke glared at the thing as it opened its mouth and started to suck in everything. Sasuke started to get sucked towards the thing while Danzo was able to move freely as he sped. As Sasuke, he held a long green wind blade that came from his implanted arm. The blade was green due to the chakra of the Hashirama cells. Sasuke flashed through hand signs. He blew out a massive fireball that hit the summon in the mouth. Danzo flashed behind Sasuke as he drove his wind blade forward. Sasuke twisted his body in an unnatural way as his spine popped from the sudden twisting. Danzo repositioned, ready to slice Sasuke in half, but he was blown back. Sasuke stood there in his Susanoo. As it stood on 2 legs, the Leaf Shinobi looked on in shock. "Sasuke-kun?" said Hinata as she looked at the massive figure from a distance. Sasuke was huffing and panting. Having to call on that much chakra all in one go took a lot. After taking more chakra stimulators than needed, they allowed him to release higher scale techniques more easily, but he had to take the safe dose. The max that he could take with no consequences was 3. Sasuke took 9. Sasuke then felt something drip onto his lip as he rubbed it. It was blood. His nose was bleeding, and he could barely feel his body. He could use high-scale techniques consistently at the moment, but he was unable to deal with the chakra output of Susanoo. It was sucking more chakra than it usually did. Sasuke released the Susanoo and tossed his sword at Danzo, who dodged it. Sasuke substituted with the sword and drove his hand forward. "Chidori!" To his surprise, Danzo caught his hand. Sasuke then flipped to get away as he dislocated his own shoulder to escape the grip. Danzo heard a sizzling sound. As he looked down, boom! Danzo cursed. He let something so small and minute get him killed as he reformed once again. Danzo was done playing. He knew Sasuke would break sooner or later, so now he was coming at him with everything he had. 4 eyes left, not counting Shisui's. Danzo disappeared as Sasuke looked around. Sasuke then coughed up blood as he dropped to one knee and held his mouth. "My body. Jesus, now of all times to start feeling?" Sasuke started to pant as his breathing hardened and his vision blurred. He then gasped as he looked down to see a hand through his chest, right where his heart was supposed to be. I have given you enough chances to stand down. All this time I held back, but you came at me with the intent to kill. Now look at you. You came here trying to kill a Kage, the strongest Kage, but you knew none of what you were really getting into. You knew none of what I could really do. Danzo removed his hand from Sasuke. Sasuke then vanished as Danzo rose an eyebrow. Izanagi. Now that you know, I will hold back no longer. Let's see how far you have come, Sasuke. Sasuke had his left eye closed. Because he had the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, he didn't go blind, but he still wouldn't be able to use his left eye for 24 hours. Meanwhile, Itachi, Shisui, and Konan all got rid of their Akatsuki cloaks as they walked into the sand village. Everyone looked at them as they walked through the village. I already don't like it here, said Shisui. Itachi nodded. I don't like it here simply because the shinobi are weak and non-helpful. What village lets their Kage get taken without putting up a fight? Shisui, Konan, I have a mission for the two of you. Sasuke is currently doing something stupid that will severely weaken the leaf. I want you two to go to Kumo and get the two tails by any means. I'd prefer if you did it peacefully. I don't want you guys coming back in any other condition than the one that you're in right now. If you can, weaken them as much as possible, but be smart. Shisui and Konan nodded before the two of them were sucked away into a swirling vortex. Before they did that though, they had other things that they needed to get done. Back with Naruto, he had finally woken up from his genjutsu. Anko and Tamaru were standing over Naruto as he sat up. He immediately clutched his head due to a headache. Naruto opened his eyes as he was hit with a rush of memories his entire life up until the age of 6 when he first made contact with Danzo. That day he saw the Sharingan for the first time as Danzo placed a subtle but strong genjutsu to make Naruto his pawn. Naruto stood fast. We need to go. Anko and Tamaru looked at each other before Anko looked down to see a small black notebook. It was Naruto's personal journal that he wrote everything in, from his feelings to missions to reports to other pointless things. Anko picked it up and immediately saw a divider saving a page, more like multiple pages that seemed to be torn from the book, tied with a rubber band and placed in different sections of the book. The header was only one word, and it read, woman. 15 minutes later was Sasuke. He stood over a permanently dead form of Danzo that lay in a crater surrounded by trees. The only reason Sasuke was alive is because Danzo ran out of chakra before he died. Danzo was no longer in his prime, so his reserves were now half compared to his prime. Sasuke still had a quarter of his reserves left due to all the chakra pills that he had swallowed prior to the fight. Sasuke jumped from the crater, looking stoic as the barrier faded. 4-root Anbu then flashed in front of him, but Sasuke was in no mood. He activated his Susanoo. It took a lot more effort since he had to use one eye at the moment, but he continued as the construct sprouted legs and then grew wings before it flew off, leaving the village. Naruto was right outside the village gates as he saw the large winged figure leave. Naruto rushed into the village, seeing the mass crowd of people forming in the distance. Naruto ran as he shoved through the crowd, making it to the edge of the crater. Naruto froze. The one person that could give him answers was dead. The one who trained him, the one closest to him, the one that was closest to a family member, was dead. Yes, Danzo manipulated Naruto, but he never hurt Naruto. He always watched over Naruto. He was one of the few people to acknowledge Naruto. Even if it was just a pawn to him, he still treated Naruto great. Naruto wanted to cry, but he forced himself not to. Danzo would not be so open to him crying over a dead man. Naruto dropped to his knees and grasped at the dirt under him as his tears started to soak the ground. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't stop them from flowing like a river. He had questions that would stay unanswered. That question was, why did Sarutobi order his Anbus to kill his mother? The next day, Naruto was in the hospital. Not for himself, but for Anko and Tamari. They were being checked for any form of STD, while Hanabi and Ino sat next to him in the waiting room. Naruto was shaking as Ino held one of his hands, while his other supported his head while Hanabi rubbed circles onto his back. Naruto had a lot of stuff going on. He was dealing with the death of Danzo. He found out that Sarutobi was the reason his mom was dead. He worried for Anko and Tamari. His best friend went rogue, and they were at war with 2 other villages. Shizune came from the room. Well, they don't have any abnormal things in their bodies, so they'll be fine. We were able to take care of the residual damage done to Tamari from the torture, so there's nothing to worry about. They would just need someone there to look after them. They won't be active shinobi until I see fit. I say about 3 weeks. Naruto nodded as he had Ino and Hanabi look over them while he went to speak with Tsunade. Naruto made his way to her office and knocked on the door. It took a few seconds, but he got the okay to enter. He came in and stopped, looking around the office. The hole in the wall was poorly paved over and Tsunade looked miserable. I take it you're here for your birthright, huh, kid? Naruto nodded as Tsunade threw a key to him, which he caught. Tsunade then glared at all the paperwork in front of her as she picked up a stamp. The trick to the paperwork is clones. That's why old man Danzo never really had paperwork himself. With that, Naruto left. He had a lot of packing and caretaking to do. He wanted to get it all done today, so everyone that was close to him was going to be staying with him at the Namikaze compound. 2 hours later, Naruto had everyone's stuff moved in. Ino, Hanabi, Ayame, Anko, and now Tamari. Now, everyone but Naruto was getting their chakra signatures keyed in. Naruto knew how to do this already, but he keyed Ino in, and now he was having her key in everyone else's. It made him smile. To be able to do that, you needed to be at least level 8 of Uzumaki Sealing Arts. Ino managed to get everyone in within 3 minutes. The inside of the mansion was well furnished. Crimson furniture, gray painted walls, hardwood floors with black carpets. The house and everything in it was beautiful. All the rooms were already picked, but to Naruto's surprise, the interior of the house was like Danzo had never lived there. But that's besides the point. Everyone already had their rooms. Naruto had the biggest room. Looking like a normal high-class bedroom, Naruto went to his room and sat on the bed and grabbed a lock of his hair as tears rolled down his cheeks. Meanwhile, with Hinata, she was currently hunched over a toilet as she continued to puke. Her assistant held her hair back as she did so while rubbing circles on her back. Lady Hinata, are you sure everything is okay? Hinata vomited again as tears streamed down her cheeks. Kami, please don't let this be. Hikari-san, may you run a scan on me? The man nodded as his hand glowed green as he placed it on her forehead. He slowly moved it around, stopping at her stomach as his eyes softened. Congratulations, Lady Hinata. You're 5 weeks pregnant. Hinata broke down. Sasuke had gotten her pregnant, and now he was nowhere around. She was going to give him a chance. She was going to marry him, but now she might as well be a widow. Time skip, 5 hours later. It was now nighttime, and Anko was in her room crying. She just wanted to go and kiss Naruto right now. She wanted to show him all of her affection. She just wanted to do things that were not so PG-13 to him. She just finished reading Naruto's personal journal. Flashback as Anko read. Let's see what you write about in here, Naruto-kun. Anko opened the book and started to read. Currently, me and Sasuke are on a training trip. I tried to master another tale of the fox's power, but I lost control and Sasuke had to stop me. According to him, I almost erased him with the tailed beast bomb. How ironic. I swear to do everything to protect the ones that I care for, but along the way I also put them in danger. Anko flipped the page at the boring dialogue. She then flipped through the pages as one word caught her eye. Experiment. She started to read. Me, Hinata, Ino, and Sakura were on our way back from Uzoshiagakure. On our way there, me and Hinata knew something was off, but we ignored it. I don't know if it was good or a bad thing, but on our way back, she attacked us. It was speed I have never seen. Speed faster than the Raikage at his full power. The first down was Hinata. She didn't even know what had happened until it was too late. Same goes for all of us. She then went after Ino, but I cut her off. I gave orders to Ino and Sakura to go and take Hinata to safety, but this opponent, this experiment, she took none of that. She had speed, power, agility. She had the viciousness. I landed a solid punch and kick to this woman, but her skin was like titanium. It had no effect. All I did was push her back a mere few feet. She then spoke her dialogue, and it was spoken in a monotone, stoic voice. She then pointed at me, and after that, there was a scream. I turned and realized that she had stabbed Ino, who was now paralyzed on the ground. She placed me under a genjutsu with the mere point of a finger. Sakura was the next to fall, as she was too paralyzed. I rushed her with as much speed as I could muster and slammed into her as we fell to the ground. Looking back, she let me hit her. I slammed my fist down to crush her face, but she tilted her head, dodging and kicked me away. Then it happened. The black markings of the curse mark started to cover her. As we continued to fight, her hands morphed into weapons. She kicked my arm. She nicked my arm, and the pain was immediate, but I pushed through it. We continued to fight as I tried my hardest, timing it to what I thought was perfect. I slammed a Rasengan into her, but she vanished in the wind. It was another genjutsu. Soon, we turned it up a notch, going all out. So I called on to the fox's chakra, but she started to steal the natural chakra from the environment. The trees and plants around her started to die as green markings appeared on her face. Soon, she put me down too. And that was when I found out that the poison she injected me with was meant to kill Jinchuriki. Anko stopped, so that's why he was afraid when he saw my curse mark. Same with the Stone Shinobi's curse mark. Anko flipped through some more pages and started to read. I had the same dream. No, nightmare yesterday. It was worse though. I was in Uzu, alone, being attacked by Stone, Mist, and Kumo forces. I thrashed around in my sleep, waking up Anko. That night she came to comfort me. Usually I would push her away, but I was in a weak state of mind, and I held her like a lifeline and cried. She caught me at my weakest, and I vented to her. Then she vented to me. She told me how she became an apprentice of Orochimaru. Then he betrayed her and wanted to experiment on her by placing a curse mark onto her. She suffered for days before he came back with another man. They began to bring her to a basement, strapping her down to a table. As they ran blood tests, in Orochimaru's eyes, she was a failure, a waste of time. He became angry as he left her and let the other man do what he wanted to her before killing her. He chose to take advantage of her. When she told me this, it made me angry. After all, I was doing research hours prior to gain knowledge on my ignorance, but Anko fought him off. She had to snap her own wrist just to stab him with a stray scalpel. Later on, she returned to the village, and the third Hokage trained her personally. She then took my hand and looked at me as she placed my hand onto her neck. I felt nothing but skin and then scar tissue. She tried to cut as much of the curse mark off as possible, but she could not get it all. That night, I swore that I would not let anything happen to her, and that I would find a way to remove that sore off of her neck. A smile formed on Uncle's face as she flipped through more pages before she stopped and started to read again. My female best friend, Tamari, was captured and then taken hostage. The news shocked me, enraged me. She is precious to me, somewhat of a rival when it comes to wind manipulation. I found out when Kakashi came back with the mission report. I wanted to go, I wanted to save her. It was supposed to be me, Uncle Kakashi, Tatsumi, and Gaara. When we went off, however, Kakashi stopped me and Gaara and placed us in a genjutsu. We awoke in a cell, but it wasn't a prison type of arrest. It was only to keep us away from the mission. I worked on the village barrier while stored away, but I eventually got frustrated and left my cell. I got ramen, trying to take my mind off of today's events. Later that night, I went home with Ayame, and I broke down, feeling as though it was my fault that Toichi had died. I was too slow. She forced it into my head I was not to be blamed. Later on, I left and unsealed my family summon scrolls. There are 3 of them, the Griffin, Bear, and Osprey. I signed the Griffin contract and planned to distribute the other contracts between my future family. I was summoned to the land of Griffin, but when I came back, something was off. I was in the village in Danzo's office when I found out. Anko was taken. Tatsumi was dead. Rage swept over me. I wanted to kill everything in sight. I chewed out Kakashi for his pathetic failure. First, my best friend, and then someone that I started to like and become fond of. I left the village by myself, leaving hundreds of clones behind to train. I moved at near impossible speeds as the wind blew through my hair and hit my root mask. Every time I placed that mask on, I stopped being human. I took the longer way to the hidden stone, going through the land of rice, then iron, then bean jam. Along the way, I stopped in a clearing. I removed the seals and took refuge in a spare home created by my dad. In that little break, I made a deal with the fox, now named Kurama. I could now use his power without the harmful effects. I also found out that Sarutobi is the reason I have no mother. Maybe he wanted me for himself. Maybe I was supposed to be given away for the benefit of the village, but it didn't matter. I continued on my way, going faster than before. I came up on Earth Country border. I had to glide across the damaged trench. I flew through the air. None of my seals weighed me down. I had a purpose. Save the 2 I care for, the 2 that I can relate to the most. I landed and disposed of 1 shinobi on patrol. I began to scout. Then I had to fight. Long story short, I captured 2 shinobi to interrogate. Things got brutal. I had them tied down in a shack. In the end, I shoved a jar of roaches down a man's throat and ripped off another man's jewels. Anko felt a shiver go down her body while reading, picturing the sight like that. It made her hurt in between the legs, and she was a woman. She continued to read. I now knew where they were being held, and it was easy to get in, harder to get out. Not because they knew that I was there. No, it was because I had Anko and Tamari with me. Getting in, it was a simple plan. I leaped off of a cliff above the village. Halfway down, I went through hand signs and did a summon. 1 giant battle griffin. They were focused on a griffin, and they didn't even notice me coming down right next to it. I landed on a building that they were held in. I dispatched about 8 stone shinobi before I slipped into a vent. I slowly made my way, and I heard 2 shinobi outside conversing. They were talking about Anko and Tamari, how they were going to be sold off to some brothels and become sex slaves. How they would get as much use out of them as possible before they had to sell them. I burst from the vent and killed the both of them, and found the 2 that I was looking for. What I saw nearly broke me. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, I'm out, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.